I don't know what that means. Okay, hopefully it'll work. Santi, can you take the headphones out? Okay, so looking at stuff. Byron, what is the amplitude for the first one?
3.
Amplitude is 3. Micah, what's the vertical shift?
-2.
Okay, is that up or down?
Down.
So, Ciela, what's the domain?
Is it or would it be
All reals. Stick any number in there. Eden, you get the hard question. What's the range? What are all the y values that come out? -5 to 1. Can anyone explain, Trey, how did she get that?
The amplitude like up and down from the midline.
So the midline is -2. So do the amplitude bit down to get to -5, add the amplitude up to get the top. And she said the lower number first, which is what we want. Okay. Omar, amplitude for the second one?
2.
2. How come he didn't say -2?
Because all that does is just flip it over the x-axis.
Okay, so the height is still 2. The negative isn't part of it, yeah.
Does like the 4 and sign like change anything with the equation?
Okay, what we're doing today, yes, the 4 inside, the pi inside, the 1/2 inside changes things. We're gonna talk about that too.
Okay.
That changes like an accordion, this shrink or the stretch sideways. But we're getting to that. West, vertical shift of this one, up or down? Adele, what's the domain? Raul, what's the range?
It's 5 to
From 7 go down to, from 7 go up to, yes. Stella, what's the amplitude of the third one? 1. There's no number written in front of sign, it's implied to be a 1. I don't want the negative with it. Frey, what's the vertical shift? Up 4. Anya, what's the domain? Max, what is the range?
5 and 3, so 3 and 5.
Down 1 from 4 and up 1 from 4, so 3 to 5. All good? Wes, question? You're giving a look.
Oh, no, I was just scratching my head.
Right.
So, like, yeah.
Okay, so you guys notice there's new stuff written in here. That's what we're gonna deal with today. That thing is called the frequency. Take headphones off, please. Okay, so like I said, that B in there is a frequency. So what I want you guys to write down is this thing. All right, you guys got that written down, I hope, because I'm covering it up. Okay, there you go. So the graph that I have up here is y equals sine x. Micah, what's the period for y equals sine x? 2 pi. Ciela, what's the b value? The number, b being the number multiplying the x, what's the number multiplying x? 1. So that means from 0 to 2 pi, we're going to make one complete wave. Just take a number. 12. Okay, we'll go with that. 12. Can I cover it up now? Or if is that okay? Okay. He said 12. So if I say y equals sine of 12x, I am going to see 12 wiggles, 12 complete waves in the amount of time that I saw just one. Okay, let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the 12th one is out there. You pick an obnoxious number. Or smaller number. Faustina, smaller number. 4. Okay, that's reasonable. 4. Okay, now we see 1 wiggle, 2 wiggles, 3 wiggles, 4. How long did it take the blue one to make one period? What is the period of the blue one now? Pi over 2. Okay, so that is, how do we get that pi over 2? Christina said, random, I'll pick 4. So the period of that new function that we just created is the normal period for sine, 2 pi, divided by 4. So it takes pi over 2 to do one wiggle. And you guys reading it off the graph, you're like, yeah, duh, pi over 2. Frequency is how frequent, how many, the b value is how many of that wiggle are you going to see in 0 to 2 pi. What if it was x over 2? Lucas, what do you think? Instead of 4x, it's x divided by 2. How much of the bubble are you going to see?
Like half.
Half of the sine curve. So let's check. One arch is all we got in there. We saw half of it. Matt, does it make sense? And it takes 4 pi to do a whole one when it's that stretched out. Okay, yes. All right. So, extending the question. With that, on each of these, Lucia, what's the period of this first function going to be? Just 2 pi. The b value, which isn't even written out, is a 1, so it's just 2 pi. Irfan, what's the period for this second one going to be?
Pi over 2.
Pi over 2. So 2 pi divided by 4, he reduced it and got pi over 2. 2 pi divided by pi, the pi's cancel and we get just 2. That can happen. I can make the pi go away. Don't force it in there. You guys get so confused. You're like, how do I deal with just numbers? Okay. So Adrian, the next question, Adrian or Adrian?
Adrian.
It is with, okay, I get so confused. whether the R is in there or not. Okay. How do I get the X scale for this one?
It's just normal, right?
So what's the scale gonna be? What?
2 pi. Oh, pi over 2 for each.
That cut into 4 pieces. The scale's gonna be every pi over 2 apart. Max, how about this one? What's the X scale for the second one? It's gonna be this, cut into 4 parts. How do I divide by 4? What's it gonna be?
I don't know.
How do I multiply pi over 2 times 1/4? Top times top, bottom times bottom. Pi times 1 over 2 times 4. Pi over 8.
Wait,
Matt? Sorry.
so the X scale is just 1/4
1/4 of whatever the new period is. This one, the period didn't change at all. It's what we've been doing for all the graphs last week, pi over 2, pi over 2, pi over 2.
Oh, okay.
Then 1/4 of pi over 2, okay, 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 gives us 4/8.
Because I was just wondering like what the X scale was, but it's like each point on the
Uh-huh.
X axis.
Irfan?
I was just gonna ask, like, where did he get one from?
The one up top. The number 4, if I have to make it a fraction, if I'm forced to, fine, it's over 1. I got 4 cookies, it's just me, I'm getting all them cookies. Me. Or maybe they're all yours, I don't know. What's the X scale on the last one? 1/2. 2 divided by 4. Okay. So, I want you guys to try and graph that one. So if you guys get stuck, talk to the person next to you. And remember, today we're doing a trading grade, does not go in the grade book. Wednesdays does. Okay, seems a lot of you are catching the flu. I will keep things posted and updated, so please check online. In graphing this, first thing I would do is pull out all the information. So, Liffey, what's one piece of information I know about this curve?
The amplitude is 2.
Amplitude is 2, perfect. So the height of the wave is 2. Sienna, what else do I know?
The midline is 7.
Midline is y equals 7, okay? Sorry, keep picking people who aren't here. Max, what else do we know? What's the period?
It's pi over 2.
Normal period divided by the b value, which reduces to pi over 2. Okay, mechanics. Some of you really stink at, like, estimations. So I need to get 4 quadrants in here, 4 tick marks evenly spaced. What I've seen you guys doing on the homework, can you look up for a second? You make this 1 unit, that 1 unit, and that, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Not evenly spaced, it's gonna look like crap and I will take off, okay? It cannot, no. So I recommend, you're going here to there, estimate what is halfway. That looks halfway. And now go between the two of those, estimate halfway, estimate halfway. All right? So, our thing on the X scale, oh, we don't have that yet. So, Anya, what is the scale that I need to put on here? Pi over 8, how did you get that?
Multiply it by 1/2 and 1/4.
Multiplying by 1/4, so 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. And in labeling your scale on this, I don't mind if you don't reduce, but when you give me the coordinates, I want you to reduce. Okay, so from here, Frey, how would I start graphing from here?
So it's negative cosine, so you can start at the bottom.
Okay, height-wise, where is that gonna be?
5.
Well,
So I'm gonna draw my midline. Okay, things you need, a scale on the x-axis and you need a scale on the y-axis. So Trey said the first coordinate is 0, 5. Okay? If it starts there, so here's here. If it starts there, where does it end? Lucia,
It ends at 4 pi over 8 at 5.
reduced, that's gonna be pi over 2, 5. Irfan, you okay? You have a look.
I'm good.
4 over 8 is 1/2, so pi over 2. Trey said cosine, cosine normally starts high, but there's a negative on it, so that's gonna reflect it. Not in this class. Lucy's out. West. Well, now, I need to put another dot in there.
pi over 8, 7.
Okay, yes? Roll, another coordinate?
3 pi over 8, 9.
3 pi over 8, 9. you guys agree? I don't know what's wrong with me. If I was gonna graph it, it goes a little wonky. Like, that looks like it's got a tumor to me, so it looks like it's in the wrong place. So, I don't care which one, but, Omar? What's the next, 2 pi over 8 or 3 pi over 8, what's the y value gonna be?
3 pi over 8 is at 7.
3 pi over 8 is at 7. So the last one, Alan, what am I missing?
You're gonna say pi over 2, 9.
Pi over 4.
Oh, right.
And some of you had a lot of trouble graphing cosine as not looking like a jump rope. If you're drawing like this, that's a quadratic, that is not a sine curve. You've gotta make it curve. And I find if I force you to go to the next, like, spot, one left and one right, it makes it curvier, which I need to see. You guys all right with that? All right. Try graphing this one. Should be quick and easy. Should be.
What's this one?
Yeah.
Is it, is it all just like kind of like divided by 4 into like smaller parts?
So I see it as a race. And how long is the race? The race is whatever the period is. If the period's pi, can't do it. But I need to cut it into 4 equal pieces. So pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4. And it goes, if it's sine, middle up, middle down, middle. So they're all gonna, your original question, yes, you always cut the period into 4s.
Okay. So it's just like smaller versions, depending on like what it is.
Yeah, and we'll practice. So Wes, what is the period for this one, this example? Normal period divided by the b value. 2, just 2, pi went away. So Santi, how far apart am I gonna space things on the axis? Wes, do you know? How far apart we're gonna space them?
1/2.
1/2. The period cut into 4 pieces. So, all right. The length of this curve is 2. Okay, if that's 2 units, somewhere here is about 1. That's half of 1. In between 1 and 2 is 3/2. West? No? Okay.
Oh, no, never mind. Sorry. I just like read the 3 off. I don't think it
But to make sure the scale is right, for me, it works to do the big length here, cut it in half, and then cut each of those in half. And then what you said was labeling them by, like, the scale is a half. So 1/2, 2/2, 3/2, 4/2. I'm fine with you leaving it like that. But when I want the coordinate, I don't want it as 2 over 2, right of 1. I don't want it 4 over 2, I want it as a 2. Adele, where's my vertical shift? It's up 4. Okay. Lucia, what's the amplitude? Just one. Okay. Matt, it's a sine curve, high, low, or in the middle?
Oh, it was there in the middle.
It's gonna start in the middle. It starts in the middle, it's gonna end in the middle. And in the middle of those middles, it's gonna be at the middle. Seattle, what's the next one? Pick one of the coordinates. At a half or 3/2, where am I? Marie, why is it down? At 1/2, she said correctly that the height's gonna be 3. Sine normally goes up, but this is a negative on it, so it's gonna go down. And then at this guy, it's gonna go up 1. And there's your curve. Yes?
I'll need the worksheet.
Oh. Sorry. So, if you did not pick up a worksheet on the way in, this is, homework tonight. But I wanna get you guys started on the trade and grade. So this is for after. Okay, all right, so can you close up your notes and pretend like this is a real quiz? I want you to try the trade and grade. Half of the classes so far have been getting perfects. So by Wednesday, hopefully it'll be all of the class. And stuff. Okay, does everyone have the practice? All right. Give you a few minutes and then we'll go over it. Trey, did I leave one for Wes? Yep.
Who's A, B, D?
Okay. So what do those letters do? When we change those, like, I'm just asking you to pull the information out of the equation. B is the number that's multiplying x. A is the number that's multiplying the trig function. The thing that's being added or subtracted outside of the whole function is D. And visually, which one of those is the vertical shift, which one is the amplitude, like mapping it all together. I just wrote it on the board. Okay, a number of people are finished. I'll give you another minute. Okay, finish up however much you got done. And trade with someone at your table. Guys, trade papers, because I want, like, some people in third and fourth period were like, what? Why did I lose a point? And you're like, oh, you were off by a negative, or you were, like, you might not see where you made your own mistakes. So please trade papers. Matt, could you trade with Faustina? Okay. So A, B, C, and D, some of you are like, what is that? A is the number attached to the trig function. A is a 3. Amplitude is the same number in this case. B is the number multiplying the x, the angle. B here is 2, so the period of this actual function, 2 pi divided by 2, the period is pi, and the D value, down 4. You get 1 point for knowing the period. The other things, you should know those too, and those are too easy. You get 1 point for knowing that this graph is going to go 0 to pi. Okay? So the next point. Getting the period right is a point. The next point is writing the scale on your graph. The period of the function cut into 4 pieces. So we're going to go from pi, equally spaced stuff, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. You don't get the point for scale unless you also have one on the y-axis.
like, okay, never mind. Cause I was wondering if you wanted to, the positive numbers.
You can.
So-
I need to at least see where the midline is, that needs to be labeled.
Okay.
So, scales, you need a scale on the X and a scale on the Y.
And the y-axis has to be labeled.
Yes, it needs a number, not just tick marks, it needs a number. I need to know that every one step, every one tick mark is 1 unit. Cause some of these, we're gonna get to graphing weird stuff, where the numbers are like 7.3 and -2.1. Using real world data, real world numbers don't ever come out pretty nice. Okay, so getting the scales right. The next thing, it's a sine function, so it's gonna start in the middle is a middle, the end is a middle. It normally goes up. It's not reflected, so it will go up, so here it's gonna go up from the midline, 1, 2, 3. Here it's gonna go down from the midline, 1, 2, 3. You get 1 point for the general shape. It is a sine curve, not a cosine curve. It's not reflected. It has a round curve. The curves look symmetric. There's an equal amount of bubble up as a bubble down. So 1 point for that. Trey, what are you squinting at?
What is the second point for?
This one? Oh, the second point, this,
Yes.
scales, putting a scale on the x-axis, like how far apart is each x, how far apart is each y? It means something on the x as well as on the y.
Does it need the correct one, or does it just need,
Kinda going with I need it correct, cause I had, good question though, I've had students go something like that. Oh, they rarely actually went backwards, but a jump of 1 unit, a jump of 3 units, a jump of 1 unit, a jump of 2 units, like completely random. I'm like, no, that's crap. Okay, and then the last point is getting the coordinates. So the coordinates are 0, -4, pi over 4, -1. Reduced, this is pi over 2, -4. 3 pi over 4, -7. And the last one is pi -4 again. So not just getting the coordinates right on the graph, but writing them down somewhere. Yes?
Do we have to simplify the 2 pi over 4 and the pi over 2?
In the coordinates, yes, I asked you to simplify there. You don't have to in this, because if you're counting by sixths, 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6 is easier than 1/6, 1/3, 1/2, 2/3, like, it's harder. So, fine with these being what they are, but reduce them in coordinates. Adrian?
For the y-axis, if they only labeled like -4, -1, -7.
That's okay, as long as it's. It's a little awkward, but
If it's like even, yeah.
it's
No,
gotta
but
not
there's,
be
like,
even.
If
it's,
there's like tick marks, like in between, but they're just not labeled.
that's okay,
Alright.
that's okay. Any other questions on like how picky we should be? Cause I am kind of a pain in the ass. It's 4 points to get all of this, so being, like, pulling out the period, knowing how far that is, then getting the scales on the thing, getting the general shape, and then getting coordinates. Yeah.
On the first part, I didn't understand the D. Like, it says D equals,
Oh,
oh, okay.
my bad.
I got it.
I swear I wrote it. I said it in my head. I just didn't write it down. Yes?
For D, if you write -4, is that fine?
Yeah, but, okay. Cause tomorrow we're gonna do left and right. So if you tell me -4 for the letter is C, if you tell me negative for C, and I need to know that you know that means left and right, so actually left versus up and down, okay, negative is in the down direction. So I prefer the word down or left or right or up. Okay, can you guys look at the worksheet that, oh, actually, give the papers back. How many of you graded a perfect paper? Okay. Okay.
He just didn't recognize, I was like,
Yeah, okay.
It's 1 out of 9.
Alright, looking at the worksheet, there were definitely some people asking questions.
Is this worksheet like homework?
Yeah, the worksheet is like homework. Sorry, I'm not, I'm fine if I can put it down, I don't know where it is. And guys, if you've noticed, around the room I have, pictures that students have made to represent certain concepts. Here is, look, it's a period, and there's 2 pies divided by a bumblebee. Period, 2 pi over b, yeah. And, okay, there were a lot of questions about this one. Can we look at the second one on the sheet? What's the b value? Pi over 2. Normal period for cosine is what? 2 pi? How do I divide by pi over 2? Multiply by 2 over pi. Pi's cancel.